All right, so what's going on, guys? I got Brody, Hetland, Mark Pulver, Tyler Orth, and myself, Shane Scott. We all just got back from the Midwest Precision Midwest Precision Shooting (MPS) NRL22X match up there in Rush Lake, Minnesota. Uh, we have some pretty good shooters in here. Mark, you ended up getting first. I think Tyler, you got second, and Brody, you were fifth, sixth.
I like how you made that sound like
fifth.
a guess.
Right, like
It was a guess.
Doesn't know.
I had to think about it.
I forgot it was fifth or sixth. My bad.
I won the match.
Okay. Yeah, Mark. Okay, we get it. You won your first NRL22X match. Congrats. Claps to you.
Yeah, smart.
You know, it only took how many matches?
Too many.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many.
Well deserved.
A lot of losses to get one to win, and the losses I learned more from.
So you should have lost them.
I
could have learned more. So all right. Well, anyways, so we're kind of basically just gonna break down this match. I've done this to a couple other matches we shot and had some guests on. So same principle with the last debriefs. So yeah, let's first talk about the Course of Fire. I mean, Ruth and Justin put on a phenomenal match. I've only shot their Halloween match. This was my first actual daytime NRL22X match they put on. I didn't even realize they shot over that side of the range. I've never experienced that before. So that was a first for me. Let's see here. It was 10 stages or 11 stages, but
11.
one of them didn't actually count. That was a fun ELR stage. Let's see here. What was your guys' I think favorite stage and also your guys' least favorite stage? Start with you, Brody.
My favorite stage was probably the run and gun stage, just because it's so unusual that you'd get to a range where you can do like super fun movement like that. We probably ran 60, 70 yards from position to position, or no, like from the first position to the last position.
Yeah, it was a big chunk. It was quite a bit of ways.
And that's just super unique. You never get to do that normally. So I think that was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. That was really interesting because you also had to not only move positions, but the first target you had to shoot multiple times from the first position and then also the last. So your yardages on some of those targets you had two different yardages because you have to move so much in between them. So yeah, that was actually really fun. I think that was one of the highest stages I did, or the best stage I did. And then what would be your worst, Brody?
The stage I performed worst on, or the stage I liked the least?
Either or.
Well, I didn't really hate any of the stages. I mean, to be honest with you, I thought all the stages are like fun and challenging. I would rather have them be challenging than too easy, because I just think, you want them to be challenging. You want to get better. Like Mark said, you want to continuously get better. So I think the hardest part for me was I started on like the second to last stage on the windy side of the windbreak. So I ended when the wind had picked up on the windy side of the course. So stages 2 and 3, I struggled with really bad. I shot 2 5s out of 10. So I think those are my worst stages. They were my worst stages. And yeah.
What stage did you start on?
4, right behind you.
Okay, so yeah, you were right behind me. So yeah, the same exact thing. I finished on stage 5. So yeah, I shot the whole right side of the day in pretty decent, easy. I mean, I would say maybe the wind was high, but the tree line was blocking it so much that it really wasn't an effect for me. But when I got over to the other side of the trees, stage 2 through 5, I just did not do well on. It was a high wind and really inconsistent direction and inconsistent speed for me. Mark, what was your favorite and least favorite stage?
Well, I like any stage where there's a lot of movement, so I did enjoy the run and gun stage 11. I think I had 40 seconds left when I got to my last position. Same with the boulders. I like movement where there's running. You got to work on your heart rate as well as building your position quickly. My favorite stage, though, would have to be the tank trap stage 7 with the animals, just because this was similar to a stage we shot at Nationals where you've got to keep track of your shots and your movement and your target engagement.
Yeah, it was kind of a whole mental. You had to keep track of it. A lot of mental game that had to go along with that stage.
like Ruth and Justin like to say, it had 3 stressors that you had to keep track of. So enjoyed that. Least favorite stage?
Any stages you didn't like or wish they were reworked, or anything that maybe thought was too hard for the conditions or too easy?
So I didn't think any stages needed to be reworked or anything like that. I would say stage 5, the geometric troop line, was the hardest at the match. And I did not perform well on it. I thought it was a good stage, but it was definitely the hardest one. That's one I walked away from. I was disappointed with my performance. But it was a good stage overall. It was just very tough.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was one of the worst ones I did. That one was tough, and it's very hard to win with that wind. I mean, when I was over, that wind was gusting 12 to 15 miles an hour, and then would drop down to 3, 4, and then back up to 15. And you're like, holy crap, man! I just could not get a wind call on that side to save my life. What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I'd say my favorite types of stages are the high movement, multiple target arrays. I like that. That being said, the boulders was my favorite, and that was actually one of my worst stages. Got beat up on wind pretty bad as I got out to the 324. But that being said, it was probably my favorite stage of the day. And the troop line, that's the one I performed the best on, and that was my least favorite. I just don't like laying down. It's not really my gig, but did well. A lot of this match in general, though, it's just kind of getting lucky. There's a lot of wind, and you were left and right of that plate, and there's nothing you can do about it but correct and hope for the best.
Yeah, the wind was definitely a factor. I mean, we have at least I shoot out mostly out of Montana, and most of our matches I say will have a pretty high wind, but the wind there was just very inconsistent. I mean, at least
Right.
here, like we have a consistent high wind. Where there, I mean, it felt like the wind was swapping from like a 9 o'clock to a 12 o'clock back and forth, and just gusting up and down, and it was so hard for me to get a wind call. At least
Right.
on the left side, it just was very inconsistent. I feel like definitely, the guys benefited earlier in the day with the low wind, but I mean, that's a match. I mean, we all had to shoot the same conditions, just the longer ones definitely took effect or took its toll with the high wind. I think for myself, my favorite one was stage 4. You're going to rock these KYLs, the one that had the KYL, so you had to shoot the close KYL and then on the far and go back and forth. I kind of like that just because you had to kind of remember your order too, because you're moving left to right, but you're not just shooting in order. You have to shoot the far one and close one and back. So I think that was a pretty fun stage. I didn't do too great on it, but I thought I had a lot of fun with that one. And then, I think my worst stage that I shot was definitely the troop line, but I think the only stage I kind of didn't like was stage 3, the Ambi rooftop one. That's stage 4, or the target 4. When I got over there, I mean, that thing was a pretty small target, and for the
Big
wind,
targets.
I mean, no, that's not number 4.
Big targets.
The last one on number 4 was pretty small. It was only
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
3
It was
but
2 or 3 tenths.
that one was just tough for me.
It was an
especially
inch,
with the
right?
wind. I think it was half an inch, wasn't
It
it?
wasn't, well, because you originally thought it was a quarter inch, and it definitely wasn't a quarter inch.
Well, it was at 125, so if it was an inch,
That makes sense. I think
Yeah.
it was an inch then.
Yeah.
It was a big target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me. I'm not to the level of you guys.
Okay,
to
you
put in
guys will laugh
perspective,
at
I
this.
finished 27th. You finished first, so a
I
little
hit-
different. I'm
I
not
hit
on
the
that level
smallest
yet.
target, but I missed the very first biggest target on that.
I did
stage,
I did the exact same thing, Mark, except I hit the first 4, close, far, missed all the other ones, and then the very last target on the far target, I smacked it, and I was like, well, what the heck? But the thing with the wind at that match, like I put in my Facebook post about the match, I said, there was really only 5 or 7 shots and I dropped. Let me see in the my match booklet here. I dropped 29 hits on that match. There was only really 5 or 7 that I felt bad about. Like I was like, okay, those 5 or 7 were on me, like for sure. Because at that stage, like I felt like I made good corrections. I saw my miss, I made a correction, and then the next time it went the opposite. Like it just
Yep.
went off the other side,
Yeah.
and that was the gusty winds we shot in. And I think that's why so many people struggled.
Yeah,
and
same
I think
exact
I
thing.
only had one shot. I was disappointed I took, and it was on the rooftop. It was the top target of number 3, left-handed. My wobble zone got a little big, and I decided to time it. But I'm better than that. I should have broke my position and rebuilt it instead of trying to force it.
Yeah, are you talking about the one that you had to shoot support side, strong side off the rooftop?
Yes.
Yeah. That one I actually liked. I
That's
really do enjoy shooting support side. A lot of guys don't practice it. I know at our Pro Series Championship, we had a stage where we had to shoot strong side, weak side, and a lot of people struggled on that. And I feel like that's something that you really have to practice and get used to, because a lot of big matches will have a support side stage, and a lot of people are like really adamant on refusing to learn weak side or support side. So I really was happy. Overall, I think Of Course Fire was phenomenal. It was very challenging, but that's something you should expect from an NRL match. I've been to other ones where the matches are extremely easy, or there's some weird novelty stage and stuff like that. This was hard, challenging. I think but I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing that affected a lot of people was the weather. The wind was very difficult to read, and it definitely showed who knows how to read wind and who didn't.
Yeah,
So,
without that win, though, I think we'd have a 90+% hit rate match. I mean, it was borderline too easy. Thankfully, we did have the win we had. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been the challenge it was.
There was definitely some very generous targets. When I got to Ruth's favorite stage, I didn't actually look at the binos at the small target. I just knew that was the only target I was going to shoot at.
Yeah.
And then people in our squad told me it was 8/10 wide, and I just that's a very generous target for sure.
Especially at 105 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I milled it out, it was like 7/10, but regardless, it's pretty big target. And it was protected. It was probably the best protected target of the whole day. You're angled back towards that wind, so you're taking out some of that wind value. Yeah.
And Tyler and I shot this match last year in that stage. I think it was a little closer, but it had a 1-inch target for the small target. And I think Ruth and Justin told me nobody cleaned it last year.
I mean, what was the match percentage? Do you guys know? What was the total amount of impact
year?
you could have got? No, this year. Total points you could have got.
80%, I think Mark got.
I think, yeah, I ended up with like an 83.
What was the total points you could get? Do you guys know?
I want to say Brody said 10.
I have 102 written on the back of my match book.
10
102 impacts. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
Yeah, out of 1040.
So 104 then. 104. I don't go to the thousands. I just keep.
Yeah, Mark, you got right at 80% then. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that's actually a really good score for. But you're right. If the wind was no wind and it was a flat day, we would see a lot higher scores on that day. Yeah. I mean, just going through and looking at the scores, majority of people struggled on stages 1 through 5, or 2 through 5 was the biggest struggle. So, yeah, I can definitely see how a low wind day could have made that whole thing different. But then it comes down to then you're battling for every drop shot. I mean, it would have been a lot.
Tyler and I talked about this. I mean, when it's windy out there, that match is usually won on the left-hand side of the tree line.
Yep, which is just crazy how much the trees block that wind. I mean, those trees and those berms block. I mean, almost all the wind. It's just
not
crazy.
Enough though. I know that target on the rocks at 324.
Well, that's because weren't you shooting? You were shooting out, but weren't you shooting out to the other side though? Weren't you? You talking about the stage where you shoot the angle?
Yeah, where you shot from the right-hand side of the trees to the left.
To the left. That one, yeah.
What was your wind call? Did you make impacts, Tyler?
Yeah, I have 3, and I hit it from 1.8 to 3.
Yeah.
So I cleaned my first 6, and then I dropped my last 4, just because I was left and right of the plate. What are you gonna do? It was steady for the first for the first round of shots, and then it was just trying to get corrections, and obviously I overcorrected and back and forth. The plates were generous too. It's like, how can you miss 8/10 or a mil wide plate out there, and you're like, oh my gosh, I am 5/10 off this plate. Like, how is that even possible off a correction? You're like, oh my gosh.
That's such a hard
Tyler
thing
brings
to
up
hold.
a great point. I started at 1 mil to center on the first plate, and I missed off the right. I turned to target 22 up the alley, still hold 1 mil to center, and I missed off the right. So then I took that windage off, or no, I added windage, sorry, and then I missed off the left, and I missed my first 3 shots, and then I ended with a 7.
Yeah.
So and with how big those targets are, those are very wide swings for windage changes.
But like, how do you feel for wind, and how do you even get a correct wind call when the wind is different on one side than the other, and you're not on the other side? I mean, you're shooting from one side to the other.
That's the problem with that tree line that you're talking about. So the match is won on the left hand side, and the first 3 stages or 2 stages on the right. If you can get past that, because the wind funnels through there so bad, if you can get your impacts there, you're good to go, because you'll likely clean the rest of it. Well, you should, right? So,
and maybe for you,
stage, right? So I had 1.5 on the first, 1.2 on the second, and really they're in line with each other, but one is more, I don't know, through that shooting lane, right? So you get to take off some of your wind. And then on that far one, it's 3 mils, because you're shooting through all that wind out in the open field, out on the left-hand side of the field. So it's just a guess.
What stage did you walk over, Mark, and get wind for the other side? Didn't you say you did that for one of the stages? Was that stage?
I had originally done that for
or captured your wind.
Okay, so I had gone back to the left side of the tree line to capture wind after I shot the KYL rack, and then I shot the tank trap stage.
Gotcha. So you just did it to get some data then? Or?
Because I knew that the wind in that shooting lane actually was stronger, because there's some openings the further out you go. And listening to other shooters and what they were saying, they were getting higher wind values than what I was getting from the previous stage. So I went over there, got some windage guide, and then I adjusted based off my impacts.
Yeah, I feel like
the stage also had very large targets. It was a very, very generous stage.
Yeah, big enough.
Yeah, I honestly walked in so when I got there on Friday, you went to go side in and all that stuff, did the bonus side stages, and I saw people down there kind of, on basically stage 1 through 5, and I thought that was just the ELR spot, and I thought most of the match was still going to be over by the clubhouse, because that's all I've shot over there. I mean, when I shot the Halloween match, it was there, and then when I shot the Polar Vortex match, it was over there by the berms. So I didn't know until literally when they said, all right, you go out to your stages, and I was like, wait, what? It's on the other side. So that kind of threw me through a loop. I didn't even realize there was a whole other side of the trees. And so, yeah, that's something I definitely need to prepare for next year, of like, it is on the other side of the trees, and there is different winds, and, it's not going to be what you experience on stages 1 through 5. So, that was just something I guess. I know you kept telling me it's on the other side of the trees, but I just didn't put 2 and 2 together of what tree line we were talking about. So, yeah, that was an inch. I honestly don't think I know I didn't perform well. I got 27th. I did perform shitty, but day was a little interesting for me. I don't know. Devin, my girlfriend who was shooting her gun, broke on stage 2, or on her second stage. Her trigger broke, so I had to help her with that, and then started to share gun and data and dope. And yeah, the day for me was kind of more focused on her getting through the day. And as soon as we had the drive home back from Minnesota, she we're just sitting there kind of driving, and all she goes, I want to go back next year and do better, because that just, she was frustrated for how bad she did. I mean, she's a pretty decent shooter. To see her got 91st, she was pretty pretty bummed about that.
And
She did not like
she's
that at all.
shooting a 1022 as we talked about. Do you foresee her moving into a bolt gun?
I've tried. So she wanted BMR again, which a decent gun, but not not high end. I've talked about would she want a Bergara, a BMR, not BMR, a Bergara or a Voodoo or Rimex, and something with the semi. She just likes the way it runs, and they perform again. You're gonna have obviously better performance out of a bolt gun, but her gun shoots. She has a phenomenal luck on her barrel. I mean, like I said, that she's using a 1022 with a kid barrel on it, using 42 grain elite contact, and that thing almost shoots better than my Bergara, if not shoots better than my Bergara. So I know longer range it falls apart, but
right.
Yeah, I've really tried to get her out of that gun, but I mean, like, she beats me. I mean, she's gotten second to only Mark before. I mean, she's done really good at that 1022. So
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly, and just having her at that match swap to my bolt gun was, I mean, again, I know her gun's like 7 pounds now with the weight kit. Mine's like 17 pounds, and I have a 3 pound weight I put on the front of it. So I mean, it's up to 20 pounds on some stages, and she's just struggling, to carry that thing around. Right. So she ran that for the rest of the day, and it was a definitely a hard
at this
hard
point
change to make.
A better scope.
She has a Strike Eagle on it, so it's not bad, but yes, it needs a high-end scope. Maybe do what Nicholas Gebhardt did for his kid and put a ZCO on there, 1022 with a ZCO. A little overkill. Actually, that's something we didn't talk about, so let's talk about gear. So, Brody, what gun you running and what gear you running? And I guess something that we had talked about at the beginning, but what are you running?
Yeah, I've actually got it disassembled on my desk while we're talking about it. I actually
I hopped in the call. I heard you messing with it and listened to a video about something. It looked like sounded like you were taking apart your gun.
I shot I went down to Rifles Only in Texas, and it rained on us all day in February. And I left my gun sit overnight in the clubhouse because it was like 70 degrees and heated. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it'll dry out." And when I got home, like all the bolts and stuff had rust on them. And I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. So, I took a brush and cleaned all the rust off. So when I got home from this match, because, it rained in the morning, when I got home from the match, first thing I did is I took my gun out and I completely disassembled it. Like, I took the trigger out. It's in pieces right now. So, yeah, I'm running a Rimex Action. I have a 22-inch 120 straight contour, 1 in 14 twist barrel. MPA hybrid chassis with full internal kit, the side plates, full external weight kit from Gray Ops. New to me is that I'm running Chad Heckler's grip, actually. I just changed that. It's my second match with it. He makes a grip for the MPA. And then Atlas Bipod, Razor Gen 3, F3R scope mount, and Trigger Tech Diamond.
How do you like that that MPA grip, the new MPA grip?
I like it a lot. So with the original MPA grip, I struggled finding, like, I have what I would call like orangutan hands, like unusually large hands. So I really struggled with like finding a natural position that I could like naturally fall into that 90-degree trigger pull. So with the original MPA grip, I just really struggled finding a spot that I wasn't like, traditional grab a rifle and just yank on the trigger like a hunting rifle. When you learn precision rifle fundamentals, you learn about the 90-degree trigger pull. But this grip, it seems to just, no matter how I do it, it just naturally positions my hand at that 90 degrees. So I'm liking it so far. I'm only 2 matches in, but I really like it so far. So, I mean, the whole setup, I've been super happy with it. Super happy.
And you like the chassis build over like a standard stock or comp hybrid?
I think I do. I love the aesthetic of a traditional stock. Like it's more eye appealing to me personally. But for a competition purpose, I think the chassis for me personally, it allows me to do certain things like balance the rifle. Like I'm obviously running a lot of weight on the fore end. And it just allows me to add a little bit more customization to it and get that custom fit and feel. So that's kind of why I run it.
Now, how you liking that 1 in 14?
I
know that's kind of a controversial topic. A lot of guys swap into like 1 in 12s, 1 in 14s. I know Justin was talking about maybe like a 1 in 15. How do you like your 1 in 14?
It is. So actually, when I ordered the gun, I ordered a 1 in 16, and he was just like super back order on him. And this is the only blank that he had in stock. So I was like, sure, what the heck, try it. So I didn't actually like want the 1 in 14. But since then, since I've got it, I've started to learn a bit about it. And it was interesting. I just got a case of Midas Plus back from the Lapua Test Center. I sent my gun down to Arizona and picked out the best lot that they tested, ordered a case of it, got it back. And maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, I went and did my dope verification out to 300. And I shot quite a bit of groups at 50 yards. And every now and then, it'll send a flyer with no variation and like the standard deviation. Like normally, if you get a flyer, you think, okay, super high velocity, super low velocity. Every now and then, it'll send a flyer within that normal velocity range that you just can't explain. Like good trigger press, good everything, and it'll just go, 2/10 left or whatever at 50 yards, and you're like, that didn't seem right. So I don't know. I mean, it shoots good. The rifle shoots good, but I don't know that it offers me any advantage, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about different twists, and I mean, yeah, 1 in 12 or 1 in 14 or 15, 16. I mean, I know 16 is a standard, but I see a lot of guys trying to play with it and find that perfect sweet spot. And I think I've talked to Mark about this, and I know Justin's talked about this. It almost comes down at that point to like what lot of ammo. Like you're gonna have to find a lot that is good for that, or that lot that fits that barrel. If not, you're kind of out of luck. Which I guess that's for every lot. You have to find that works best for your gun, but I know I've heard like 12 and 14 can be a little finicky at times. So yeah. I'm looking at the Rim X. So I run a Bergara B14R in a MDT Extra S chassis.
You don't need
or
a
hybrid
Rim X
stock. It's not about needing. It's called the want. Calm down, Mr. Team Bergara. And then I have a sperm out with a Vortex Gen 3 Atlas bipod, Bix Nandy trigger. And I love my gun. Don't get me wrong. Like the gun outshoots me, and I'm definitely the problem. I'm not blaming my gun for anything. Bergara makes phenomenal rifles, but I don't know. It just I think it's kind of also I want to go down that little more customizable route and get a different barrel. I feel like the Bergaras are a little rear heavy, so to be able to have a little more front weight without adding a bunch of extra weights on the front of it would be nice. Also, that kind of gives me an excuse to toss the Bergara to Devin and get her into a bolt gun, and then I have an excuse to get a new toy. So there's nothing wrong with getting another gun. More the merrier. Tyler, what are you running?
Well, things will be changing, but currently I'm running a Rim X with a 26-inch barrel, 16.5-inch or 16.5 twist, MPA chassis, full internal and external weight kit, Skypod, Bix trigger, zero compromise optics in a spur mount. But yeah, so far, I mean, I really like the gun. The gun shoots, but yeah, looking forward to what's next.
Yeah, some news in the work. That'd be good. Mark, what are you running?
Everything I'm running is through sponsors. I just want people to be aware of that. So I run a Bergara B14R factory barreled action. I changed out the trigger to the Bix Nandy 2-stage. Manners TCS stock, Chronos from Athlon in a spur mount, and an MDT Skypod. I use Weebad for my bags. Real big on those guys.
I just got some new Weebag. Devin won a cert at a match for some Weebag. So I ordered small new Weebad bags. But I bought one of those Armageddon bags off of Jason. I love that thing, man. That thing came in. I mean, I love my Weebad. Don't get me wrong, but that Armageddon bag, I really enjoyed running this last match.
It showed
the wedge. Okay, listen. All right.
I'll stick
just
to
because
the,
I didn't
equipment of winners.
That's fun. I ran Weebad too. I'm just saying I really enjoyed that bag. It was a really good bag. Armageddon makes a cool bag, and it's blue because it's Jason Nedved's NPS blue.
Oh, you picked it up at the match?
Yeah,
because the blue ones are just in stock.
Yep. I told him I saw you posted, and I was like, bro, I like repping a lot. I mean, I know I've said it on my other podcast, but I run a shooting series up here in the north, and so I like running a lot of the sponsors' gear. If they sponsor our series, I like trying to get some of their gear and rep it and show it off. So Jason's a sponsor, and yeah, I really liked his bag. Well, Armageddon's bag, but his branded bag. So yeah, I got it picked up, and I actually liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was a solid bag. A little more has a little bit more of a V pitch to it. Then the Wee bag's kind of a curve, but they both have their tools. I definitely see myself starting to have way too many bags. I might have to start cutting down how many bags I bring to a match. Carrying around like 4 bags is not practical at all. But definitely can't live without my Wee bag pump pillow. So the Wee bag still has a place in my heart. Not throwing them out the window, Mark. Mr. Sponsored by Wee
bag you need.
That should be their slogan. The only bag you need, Wee bag. So with the gear, do you think? Oh, I guess I can't really say Mark because you won the whole thing. But do you think any of the gear is limiting you, or do you guys all think that this gear is basically what you're going to stick with? And
I think you're asking the question wrong. Like a good example would be running a stage with a tripod rear support. It's like, on the cattle gate, for example, did I need to? I started out the stage with the tripod. I actually think it hindered me as I further shot the stage. So there's times when you can use too much gear.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, I agree on that part. I was more talking about like the gears you guys running, I've talked to shooters that have had problem with Remix or had problem with Voodoo or Brigara, and I just do you see yourself swapping anything different, Brody, or you think you're going to stick with Remix and your 14 twist?
I'm pretty happy with what I got right now, man. I mean, to be honest with you, like the points I drop right now, you can't blame it on the gear. I mean, I shot a match, an X match, where they just held nationals. I shot it last October, and the guy who won it with a Woodstock Factory CZ, and there was 90 people there. So like, it's definitely not the gear. I mean, it's more about to me personally, the biggest two things are ammo and the shooter's fundamentals, and how you not just fundamentals, but like pre-stage management, match planning, all these things come into play. The gear helps, don't get me wrong. I mean, the gear does help. Like I've made so many gear changes. I've bought and sold so much stuff. But with what I got right now, I'm super happy with it. So I don't see myself changing anytime soon.
What is your guys' pre-match kind of ritual or pre-match kind of planning that goes into a match before you guys go? Do you guys do anything like, prep wise, or is it kind of just show up and shoot?
Show up and shoot.
Yeah, I mean, you've shot with me enough times. I just kind of show up.
Yeah, you're out there practicing every day, bud. I don't want to hear that.
Practicing in my mind.
You're running every day the range practice. We know, Mark. How many rounds do you go through a year?
I haven't even finished my case of 5,000.
Likely story. I don't believe it. I think that's probably your third 5,000 brick.
I really do think that people overthink these things. I mean, it really is essentially 5 different levels that you have to shoot from. Figure out how to build a position and shoot. It's not that difficult. And I think a lot of times people shoot too much, right? If you shoot too much, you burn yourself out. You start making more mental mistakes. You start making the critical errors. But I think if you can back off and start thinking just one step at a time, really break down a stage in your mind even. And I mean, really, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I definitely have seen myself with so I've recently got a Kestrel, which I'm surprised none of you guys listed that in your gear, by the way. Very disappointed.
It's just,
we all know you
gotta
have
a Kestrel.
Yeah, that's required. Yeah, you toss some grass up in the air. No, that was the wind call. With the addition of me in the Kestrel, I feel I have definitely started to overthink things.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I definitely say I rely on my Kestrel now, but I feel like
So, little backstory here, everybody. Shane calls me after a match, and he's like, I missed this target 3/10 high, or whatever it was on this one stage. And he's like, I think I figured it out. And I was like, okay, what was it? He's like, it was the incline. And I told him it was not the incline. He's like, yeah, I did the math. It was 10 degrees. It equaled this. Well, we talked for about 20 minutes. He then tells me, he's like, well, my zero wasn't on. I was having issues all day with it. And I was like, oh my God, Shane. Because we were trying to figure it out in the Kestrel, and his zero was off.
I still don't know what happened that day. Well, to be fair, I shot with the Kestrel for a good 4 months, not realizing
that was
you had to set the degree of where the wind was coming from.
Oh.
So every time I had the wind like just butchered, I was like, why am I having such a rough couple months? Yeah, bro, I didn't take any training classes on this shit. All right, I don't know how this shit runs. I thought it gave me the data. I put in the what the wind was, and or pointed held to the wind, and like, all right, that's my hold. Then I realized it was like the opposite wind call. I'm like, why am I holding right if the wind's coming from the right? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was very interesting. So, but no, I can't live without my Kestrel anymore. I definitely think it's helped. Again, I don't know if you guys know this, but I've said this before. I mean, I've only been shooting for about 2 years now. So, I mean, and that's shooting any type of gun. So, did you just say same?
Well, competing. I've been shooting since
I thought no. I've never even touched a gun until 2 years ago.
My dad took me shooting for my birthday as a 4-year-old, and almost blew my finger off with a revolver. So that was fun. And I've never looked back.
Just gone down the rabbit hole.
Probably the last time I cried too.
The last time you cried?
4 years old.
Yeah, right. We'll go with that one, Mark.
Severe traumatic injury.
Oh my God. Dude, this is the stuff I go through with this guy. I swear. I have to deal with this guy every month at a match.
Not anymore.
It hurts. Nope. Mark is moving up in this world.
Times they are changing.
Moving out to the Minneapolis region.
Yeah. He's going to be a Minneapolis shooter now. There's a lot of venues out by you guys, isn't there? Wisconsin, Minnesota. I mean, how many local NRLX matches are out there?
I'm not sure about X matches, but if you wanted to shoot a 22 match,
if
you wanted to shoot an NRL 22 match, or just like a 22 precision rifle shooting match in general, within an hour and a half of Minneapolis area, you could shoot 6 a month at least.
Yeah, that's. Good luck finding that in Montana. We have one within like 2 hours, and then every 2+ hours will probably be another one. But with our series now, we've added 4 in Montana, 1 in Wyoming, 5 in South Dakota, 4 or 5 in South 4 in South Dakota, and then 5, 1 disjoint, and then 1 in Idaho. So we're trying to bring some competition shooting up here, but that was kind of a little breakdown there. Congrats, Mark, on your first win. Congrats, Tyler, for your second place. You should have beat Mark, but next time you'll put Mark back in his place. He doesn't belong.
Don't mention it.
Tyler,
don't talk about it.
You're supposed to be below you, Tyler. This is a standard we've come to know. You can't let Mark beat you.
No, I'm happy Mark finally won. He deserves it. He shoots a lot of matches and he puts the time in, so he earned it.
It's pretty tough when Mark. I finished my stage. I finished the match, and I was walking over the hill back to the parking lot. And Mark was in the trunk of his car putting stuff away. And I looked over at Mark. I'm like, "How'd you do, buddy?" And he kind of like looked over at me with a half grin and just gave me a thumbs up. He's like, "Well," I was like, "Uh-oh." I wonder what that means. When he told me how many points,
I knew I had shot well.
When he told me how many points he dropped, I'm like, "Well, that's gonna be tough to beat." So he definitely earned it.
The only thing I waited to see was I waited for Tyler to get back, and we compared scores, and then I was pretty assured once we compared scores where I was going to end up, 1 or 2.
Hey, we got a smile out of Mark this week. I don't know if you guys saw the photo. There is Mark smiling. Yeah. I have never seen Mark smile, so that is impressive. There is usually this mean kind of determined face on Mark. So yeah,
you don't have to smile to be happy.
Smile out of him. Oh God. The mentality of you must be. Well, what did you say to me, Mark, the other day about you got to be not in a bad place?
Oh, I was telling him, and I was telling Ruth about this. They both said I've got the wrong I've got an unhealthy mental habit. I like to make
100%.
myself uncomfortable to push myself harder. I don't like to be comfy.
Yeah, and then he responds with also that he flips tires. So he's cool. He flips tires.
You got to
Good
exercise.
job, Mark. You flip those tires. You go for it, bud. Well, guys. Last thing, I guess. What did you guys all end up walking away with off the prize table? Anything? I know, Mark, you walked away with some nice stuff. So, what you guys all end up getting?
I mean, I grabbed the
What do I
Night
say?
Force NX8.
Yeah,
And
that's a good looking scope there. Can't go wrong with that. Thank you, Night Force, for sponsoring. Brody, what you get?
I picked up a cert for 55% off a Swarovski optic or Collis optic, and
Ooh,
it's already been redeemed.
Ooh, what you get?
I picked up a set of Swarovski EL range 10x42s.
Ooh,
So
those are gonna be nice.
pretty stoked about that. Pretty excited to get them.
Tyler, what you walk away with?
I walked away with a Savage 110 precision rifle build. So yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
that's gonna be a little fun little. Yeah, you can't go wrong with
yeah,
that.
it'll be fun.
I ended up walking away with a. Well, since the girlfriend broke the trigger, walked away with a $325 certificate to Valkortsen to buy her a new trigger. So that was that was nice. I grabbed that off the table, but I don't think we're actually gonna have to need to buy one anymore. I think I got it fixed and figured out what was wrong with it. The roll pin had finagled this way out, which don't know how that was possible, but we fixed it. So I don't know. We'll see. We might get her something for the 1022. Who knows? Maybe I'll start putting a Valkortsen build for our loaner gun at our club. Get a Valkortsen build going. So, but thank you to all the sponsors of that match, Ruth and Justin. Thank you guys and all the ROs and staff that helped run the match.
I
It was
let
a
Todd
phenomenal
Anderson
match.
down. He RO'd the dual KYL stage. I told him I was going to clean it, and before I took my last shot, I told him I was going to clean this for him, and then I dropped the shot, of course. So
It's called karma. You mouthed
I don't
off,
believe
Mark,
karma.
and
I just missed.
it came right back at you. But no, thank you to all the sponsors. Ruth and Justin did a phenomenal job. There was tons of sponsors, and the match was great. I'm glad I got to meet some of you guys. I know I don't think I've ever shot with you, Tyler or Brody, but no, maybe Brody. You were at the Pulver.
You've been at the same matches. You just
and I shot the
Yeah,
Halloween match too, but we never met. No.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well,
I think I saw you at the Polar Vortex match.
I was the guy looked like I was wearing a sumo suit. I was wearing 40 layers and overalls with duck lined. I was colder than shit, dude. I was a little wobbling freaking sumo suit. It was fine.
A wild match.
I had heated jacket on, heated freaking hand warmers, feet warmers, bro. I was toasty.
You need to put that around your gun though.
Yeah, more important.
I need to get a barrel warmer for that match. The weather my barrel temps were so inconsistent. But
It was wild.
Yeah, that was a very interesting match. But thank you guys for hopping in here. Like I said, it wasn't gonna be that long, just a little short, 50-minute little breakdown of what the match was. Congrats, Tyler, Mark, on your first and second. Brody, gotta do better, man. I want to see a first place out of you.
Coming.
All right?
It's coming.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. And I'll get above 20 one day eventually. I don't know. Maybe you'll be lower.
Maybe if you stop using Armageddon gear.
Oh, oh my God! Now you're okay. Listen, Mr. Sponsor, calm down. All right, Armageddon makes some good gear. Maybe I should go to Rimex. Maybe it's Bergara that's the problem. Maybe I'm actually out shooting my gun and Bergara's the problem.
He's gonna end up in 40th after
that.
Hey, I don't know. I think the Rimex make a great action. You just have to be careful. They let me down in times where I needed it not to. So they have their failures just right along with the rest of them. So
yeah, I think
all three of the Remington 700 actions have pros and cons, definitely.
Yep.
I mean, at this match that we just shot, I had hold on, let me find out what stage it was. It was stages 6 and 7. I had 2 failure to feeds, and I couldn't get the round out on the KYL. That close KYL at 65, I had cleaned it up until my 15th shot, and I couldn't get the round out. It failed to feed, And on the next stage, I got 2 impacts. Then in my third round, I got one stuck so far in there that I couldn't even get it out with a knife. So, I mean, it happens, right? But
Right.
it happens with everybody's
So
action.
what you're saying is maybe if you're shooting Bergar, this wouldn't have happened.
It might
Maybe
not
there you
have.
go. Maybe that's a pro,
Yeah.
right? Maybe there's a pro to go to
It might
Bergar.
not have.
Right. Yeah, and mine went down on stage 7. My last 2 shots didn't eject around. I had to drop a mag and didn't have enough time to get back on target. Plenty of time. The stage in itself was a time suck, so there wasn't any room for error. You couldn't have anything happen on that stage, otherwise you wouldn't be able to finish it. So
Yeah, and
Come on, guys! Don't be talking me out of Rimex here. I was so, like, you guys are
And then
saying negative. I want to hear the pros. I want to hear the pros.
Tyler
Come on,
knows a
don't
lot
say this
about the Rimex. He's
Yep.
people go to him for information. So
Yeah, I've been looking at Rimexes and Voodoos. I actually just had an offer to buy a barreled action Voodoo with Voodoo barrel for like $1,500, $1,600, and I don't know. I have to make up my mind what I want. This Bergara, I don't know if it's doing it for me, Mark. I think I might be shooting better than the gun.
you can't buy impacts.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
They all shoot.
Come on, you know some of our local shooters think that. Come on, Mark. You can buy impacts, bud. Let's buy a better gun. So, well, thank you guys for joining. And yeah, we will hopefully see you guys in the next match. I'll be probably heading. What's the next NRLX match I'm going to? Jeez, you guys are going to King of Point 8, aren't you?
2.8.
I'm on the wait list. All right, I forgot to sign up,
No,
and I'm on the wait list. for
Mark,
that.
are you competing in it?
No, we all signed
No,
up as
no.
ROs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The
Buffalo Wild
RO,
Wings.
the RO
Buffalo
is
Wild Wing.
the RO for that match is full. I've already talked to him.
You
I'm
might
on
as
the
well
wait
just
list.
shoot it as a non-RO.
No, I will RO. I don't want to go shoot the match. It's also the
yeah,
same
all your
weekend as the
buddies are
Team
are-
Hunter
are-
match in Billings, and I don't know.
That's why I signed up, because like all my
RO-ing.
good friends are
Yeah.
ROing it. So I was like, oh shit, well that'd be fun. Go RO it with everybody. I've never RO'd a match before.
Yeah.
I've shot lots of them.
Yeah, and I haven't RO'd, and this is a good way to give back. You got to put your time in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the next match I'm shooting is going to be down at the Virgil, South Dakota, at the Rimfire match.
The
down
Rooster
there,
Rush.
which
Yeah,
yeah,
you there, buddy?
Rooster Rush.
I'm considering
Sweet.
going to the Racine one because Larry talked to me at the match, asked me if I'd go, so I might go to the Wisconsin one.
That's the Wisconsin one, is? Oh, yeah. Well, you'll be living out there. I mean, we have a lot of shooters down in South Dakota that shoot the Pro Series.
It's
so,
tough when you got matches on the same weekend that are both the same
Yeah,
distance.
yeah.
Like it's
yeah.
cough.
I mean, are you going down? Are you going to? Hey, listen. All right. This is the Team Hunter match is Trevor's match. All right.
Tyler and I
weekend he
could
wants to
win
do it
that.
on- Yeah. Well, you know what?
We
Maybe
should-
we should do it intentionally on a match that the same weekend you guys aren't going to be there, because if we know you guys, are
Tyler,
gonna
you
win
want
the
a
whole
belt
thing.
buckle?
Maybe there's.
Absolutely.
They're
What match
actually
is
pretty cool
this?
belt buckles. This is the Team Hunter match in Billings for the Pro Series.
When
Is
is
it
that?
Rimfire?
Have Trevor
The
move it
same
to
weekend
next
as the. It's the same weekend as the big or the of the King of the Point.
Dang it!
tournament.
Now I can't be an RO.
Now-
Cancel RO. You're winning this, dude. It's like a $200 belt buckle. It's actually pretty sick. He does them for a couple. He has a Big Sky buckle blast he does every year. It's a rimfire match on Saturday and a center fire on Sunday. And my girlfriend actually won top lady for that and won a belt buckle. And it's actually pretty cool. It's a really nice, big, huge. I mean, that's a
He
Montana,
conveniently
Wyoming
does it
thing.
when I'm not there.
Listen, you shoot too many matches. That's not his fault. Is any of you guys going to the Sweaty Yeti?
I couldn't get signed up in time. I had it on my
No,
calendar,
filled
but
up.
couldn't get
Unfortunately, I had the same problem. I talked to Ben and Travis about it. I missed out this year,
Yeah, filled up too fast.
Yeah, I'll be.
which is great.
I'll
I'm
be going
happy
to the-
that Ben's match sold out that fast.
Yeah. Actually, I might be going to the. Oh, it already happened. Never mind. I was gonna talk about going to the ROM Colorado one, but that was the same weekend as Ruth match. Never mind.
You're
Yeah,
thinking
next
of the
probably
Grand
be-
Junction match, Crete Lewis.
Yeah,
that's
So
a
many-
Well, I'll be going to the Springville, Utah, July 30th, and then I'll be going to the Virgil, South Dakota, on August 20th. And there's another one the following weekend back in Utah. So,
Yeah.
And then I think after that, that's it. You guys need to come up to the Badlands Brawl up in Poplar,
Planning on
Montana.
it. Planning on it.
Yeah, I'm the
It's
2-time defending second place champion.
So yeah, 2-time second place
Two-time
champion.
second
What
place.
weekend is that?
The 10th.
That is in September 10th.
Yep.
Gosh.
Yep. That's gonna
These
be a fun
matches
match.
are just
And then-
stacked on top of each other. I try to go to matches where the competition is, right? But sometimes you can't go to all of them.
Right.
And that one won't be one of them, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a pretty. The terrain there in the Badlands is insane. I would highly recommend going to that one if you can make it.
Yeah.
It's a really cool. It's a field match and it's pretty cool. It's in the Badlands for a reason. The name fits the name, or the town. The area fits the name. So, but all right, guys. Well, thank you. Let you guys go. It's been an hour. Thanks for stopping by. Mark, congrats on your win.
Yep.
Tyler, congrats on second. Brody,
And,
I need improvements, bud. Need some improvements.
thanks to Ruth and Justin
So-
for putting on a great match.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for Ruth and Justin again. Thanks for all the ROs. Thanks for all the sponsors. Thanks to the NRL for putting for the organization running the match. And hopefully we have you guys on another one. Peace out, guys.
Thanks.
Break.